What if I told you that sociology doesn't just study society? It unmasks it. Behind every norm, belief, and behavior you think is your own, there's a structure quietly shaping you. From who you love to what you fear, it's not fate or personality. It's power, it's control, and it's sociology. But here's the twist. The more you understand it, the more dangerous it becomes. Because once you see the invisible strings, you can't unsee them. And neither can those who want to keep you blind. Ready to open your eyes? We grow up believing we are free. Free to choose, free to love, free to believe in whatever we want. But sociology laughs quietly in the corner, because deep down it knows you were never truly independent. You were socialized. From the moment you were born, invisible forces went to work. Your gender determined the colors you wore. Your parents' income shaped the food you ate, the school you attended, and the friends you made. Even your first words were filtered through language systems you never chose. Sociologists call this socialization, the process through which we absorb norms, values, and behaviors. We don't choose who we are, we inherit it, not biologically but culturally, silently, systematically. Take a baby born in Tokyo and raise them in Sao Paulo. Their gods, their gestures, their moral compass, completely different. Same genetics, different society. So who are you, really? And here's where it gets uncomfortable. This isn't just about culture or geography. This is about control. Because if society can shape you, then someone is deciding how you're shaped. Your desire to be successful? Planted. Your hatred for certain groups? Programmed. Your addiction to scrolling endlessly through curated content? Designed. Sociology doesn't just reveal the puppeteer, it shows you how the strings were tied in the first place. Now that might sound paranoid until you start asking questions most people are too afraid to face. Why does your country celebrate certain holidays but ignore others? Why do some crimes get punished harshly, while others are ignored altogether? Why are you told to trust certain institutions without ever questioning who built them? Because society isn't neutral. It's a battlefield of competing interests. Powerful groups write the rules. The rest follow. And most terrifying of all, we enforce these rules on each other without even realizing it. Ever judge someone for dressing weird? Ever laughed at someone for crying in public? You were upholding norms you didn't create. This is why sociology is dangerous, because once you understand how norms are manufactured, you can no longer pretend they're natural. The idea of a normal life, a house, 2 kids, a 9 to 5, that's not destiny, it's ideology. And ideology isn't just about politics. It's about how we live, how we love, how we exist. Most of us never stop to question these things. We're too busy playing the roles we were given. Student, parent, worker, consumer. But sociology does. It questions everything. It asks, who benefits if you stay silent? Who profits from your conformity? And here's the catch. The people in power don't want you to know this, because a person who sees the system becomes harder to manipulate. This is why the wisdom of sociology is feared. It gives you the power to deconstruct your world, to unlearn, to rebel, to rebuild. And that's exactly why some people would rather call it dangerous than wise. Because knowledge that frees is a threat. Look in the mirror. Who do you see? A name, a job title, a nationality, maybe a list of traits: kind, introverted, rebellious, ambitious. You think that's you. But sociology sees something else. It sees a reflection built layer by layer, by your environment, your history, your networks. And it asks a brutal question. What part of you is truly yours? And what part was constructed by others? We all want to believe in a stable identity, but the truth is, you are a mosaic of social roles. At home, you're a child. At work, an employee. Online, a persona. In each context, you shift, adapt, perform. Sociologist Irving Goffman called it the presentation of self in everyday life. Life to him was theater, We're all actors on a stage, putting on different masks for different audiences. What you show to your boss, you hide from your best friend. What you reveal to your partner, you bury in front of your parents. Not because you're fake, but because society demands it. Every interaction is governed by rules you didn't write. How close you can stand, when to laugh, what's too much emotion. You break these rules, you get labeled weird, rude, unstable. So what does this mean? It means that who you are isn't just personal, it's political. Your choices are shaped by what your society accepts, and every free decision you think you made was filtered through a system of rewards and punishments. Consider something simple. You didn't choose your accent, yet it determines how others see you. Intelligent or ignorant, trustworthy or suspicious, welcome or rejected. Even race, gender, class, categories we treat as natural, are socially constructed. Yes, your body exists, but the meaning attached to it, that's society talking. Sociology tells us you were named before you could speak, categorized before you understood the game, judged before you had a chance to defend yourself. And once those labels stick, they shape your future. Ever noticed how people live up to their stereotypes? The kid called troublemaker becomes one. The girl told she's too emotional starts hiding her feelings. That's the power of the self-fulfilling prophecy. Another concept sociology hands you, like a mirror you didn't ask for. But here's where it gets worse. We don't just wear the labels others give us. We start policing each other, mocking those who step outside the box, rewarding those who obey the script. It's not just the system holding us back. It's us too. We become guardians of our own prisons. So who are you, really? A product of your past? A performance for your peers? A prisoner of invisible norms? Or, and this is where sociology offers hope, a person who can see the frame and step beyond it. That's the danger of this knowledge. Once you realize your identity is not fixed, but shaped, you stop accepting it as destiny. And the moment you challenge the roles you were assigned, you become a threat to the entire play. Some will hate you for that. Others will follow you, but one thing's for sure, you'll never look in the mirror the same way again. You've probably heard it before, the system is broken. Politicians say it, activists shout it, even your friends post it. But sociology asks something bolder. What if the system isn't broken at all? What if it was designed to work exactly like this? For a select few, you see inequality everywhere. In wages, in healthcare, in education. But here's the trap. You've been trained to see these as glitches, temporary failures, unintended side effects. Sociology rips off that illusion. It says, no, inequality is the system's fuel, not a bug, a feature. Let's go deeper. Every society has a structure, a way of organizing people, and every structure comes with hierarchies, rich and poor, powerful and powerless, winners and losers. It's not an accident that some kids grow up surrounded by books, while others grow up surrounded by gunshots. It's not bad luck that determines which schools have working bathrooms and which don't even have teachers. It's about social reproduction, a concept that explains how the rich stay rich and the poor stay poor across generations. How do they do it? Through cultural capital, knowing the right way to speak, dress, and behave. Through social capital, having the right connections. And through institutional favoritism, systems rigged to reward familiarity, not merit. The elite don't need to cheat, they just play a game that was made for them. Meanwhile, you were told to work hard and pull yourself up by your bootstraps. But what if you were never given boots to begin with? This is the brutal honesty of sociology. It strips away the myths. It exposes how systems of power, race, class, gender, are baked into every part of life. Consider this. Two people apply for the same job. One has an elite surname and polished diction. The other, same talent, but with a name that sounds foreign. Guess who gets the call? It happens every day, not because of personal bias, but because of systemic bias, a pattern so normalized most people don't even see it anymore. And here's the part no one wants to hear. Those who benefit from the system rarely want to change it. Why would they? They call it a meritocracy, as if success is all about talent. But the truth? It's more about where you start than how hard you run. Now, you might be thinking, fine, the game is rigged. So what do I do? Quit? Rebel? But sociology isn't just diagnosis, it's resistance. It gives you the lens to see the structure so you can question it, challenge it, rebuild it. You're not powerless, you're just taught to feel that way. Sociologists like C. Wright Mills introduced the sociological imagination, the power to connect personal troubles with public issues. Your debt? Not just personal failure, it's part of a larger economic trap. Your burnout? Not just bad time management, it's a symptom of a culture that profits off exhaustion. When you start to see the world through this lens, something changes. You stop blaming yourself, you stop blaming others, and you start asking, who built this system? And who does it serve? Because the system isn't broken, it's functioning with brutal precision. And the moment enough people see that, the system starts to tremble. You feel free, don't you? You can choose what to wear, what to eat, who to follow, what to post. You think your life is a result of your own decisions. But sociology whispers, that freedom, it has invisible walls. Let's start with the illusion of choice. You pick between brands, jobs, or political parties. But how many of those options were ever truly yours to begin with? You were born into a time, a culture, a language, not by choice. You were taught what's desirable, appropriate, normal. You were handed a script before you could even read. Sociologist Pierre Bourdieu called it habitus, your internal compass shaped by external forces. It's the voice inside your head that tells you what's right and what's wrong, even when no one's watching. And it didn't come from you. It came from your society. You learned it at dinner tables, in school hallways, on playgrounds, through screens. Think about how you behave in different spaces. At work, you're composed. At a party, you're relaxed. In church, you're reverent. But none of those reactions are truly spontaneous. They're rehearsed, conditioned. That's because freedom in sociology isn't the ability to do anything. It's the ability to navigate within the boundaries society sets, without punishment. Sure, you can walk down the street screaming, but you'll be judged, maybe arrested, definitely labeled. So what happens? You conform, not out of fear, but because it feels natural. That's the genius of social control. The most powerful rules are the ones we don't notice. We follow them automatically, believing we're acting freely. Even rebellion comes with rules. Think of fashion rebels or nonconformist influencers. Their rebellion still fits a mold, still sells a product, still earns approval. In many cases, freedom is just pre-approved deviation. But why does this matter? Because if you don't know where your limits are, you'll never know when you're being controlled. You'll think choosing between two pre-packaged identities is liberation. You'll think voting once every 4 years is participation. You'll think owning things is the same as owning yourself. And when you hit a wall, when your freedom is actually tested, you won't even recognize it. That's when sociology becomes dangerous, because it teaches you to see beyond your immediate experience. It forces you to ask, why do I want what I want? Who told me this is success? Why do I feel guilt when I say no to things everyone else accepts? Freedom in the sociological sense isn't about doing what you want. It's about understanding why you want it in the first place, and whether that desire came from you or from a world that profits off your obedience. True freedom requires friction. It requires stepping outside of scripts, even when it costs you comfort, especially then. So next time you say, I don't care what others think, ask yourself, would I still say this if I were truly alone, or if no one was watching? And when you find a choice that makes you uncomfortable, a decision that defies your programming, a path that doesn't make sense to your peers, you might just be stepping into actual freedom. And yes, it's terrifying, because that's what real freedom feels like. By now, you've probably realized something. You're not living in a vacuum. You're living in a system, one built on assumptions, power, repetition, and silence. And sociology? It just handed you the blueprint. You've seen how identities are shaped, how choices are limited, how inequality is not an accident, but architecture. So the question now isn't, is it real? It's, what do I do with this knowledge? Let's get one thing straight. Understanding society doesn't make you superior. It makes you responsible. Because now that you see the strings, you can't pretend they aren't there. You can't go back to blaming only the individual for systemic pain. You can't look away from injustice and say, that's just how it is. You know better now, and that makes you dangerous, men, in the best possible way. But here's the trap most people fall into after that first awakening. They get overwhelmed. The system is too big. Nothing will ever change. It's all hopeless. That's how the system wins, by turning your awareness into paralysis. But sociology offers another path, agency through clarity. It doesn't tell you to burn everything down. It tells you, know the rules, question the rules, break the ones that need breaking. Because sometimes the most radical thing you can do is speak truth in a room that's addicted to denial. Sometimes it's asking why no one questions that sexist joke, or why your friend gets followed in stores, or why mental health is taboo until it kills someone. Sociology doesn't give you a checklist. It gives you a lens, a way to view every headline, every conversation, every normal moment, and ask, who benefits from this staying the same? And when enough people ask that, things shift. Movements are born from these questions. Policies change. Cultures evolve. People become impossible to silence. You don't need to be a professor to use sociology. You just need to be awake, to see that your personal problems are often collective ones, to realize that blaming the poor, the marginalized, or the struggling is a distraction, so we never ask who built the maze they're stuck in. This is the wisdom of sociology. It doesn't just explain society, it equips you to confront it. But be warned, it comes at a cost. Once you unplug from the matrix, you'll lose the comfort of ignorance. You'll see injustice where others see coincidence. You'll speak up when silence would be safer. You'll feel lonely, but never alone, because others are waking up too. And when we find each other, when we share this lens, when we build new systems from a place of truth, we become unstoppable. So the next time someone asks, why study sociology? You can smile and say, because seeing the world clearly is the first step to changing it. And that might just be the most dangerous and most necessary wisdom alive. Sociology doesn't just open your eyes, it changes the way you live, question, and act. If this knowledge shook something inside you, don't keep it to yourself. Share this story, start a conversation, and challenge the systems around you, because the moment we start thinking critically together, the world starts shifting. Now tell me, what did this awaken in you? Drop it in the comments.